Joining us now is Bill Kristol, founder and editor of the Weekly Standard, ABC News contributor. Hello, Bill.
Hey, Steve. How are you?
I don't know. I'm getting revved up, and it's going to be very interesting. What do you think is going to happen tonight?
You know, I mean, obviously I don't know, but one never knows in these debates, and I've always a bad predictor of them. And then especially in this case, we just haven't seen. Trump's never debated one-on-one. Trump's a very unusual candidate, for better and worse. No political record at all, so real outsider. Hillary Clinton, the opposite, obviously. Pretty experienced, pretty decent debater, I would say, thinking back on her debates, both with Obama in 2008 and even Lazio in 2000, where she did well. But, you know, she hasn't really had to handle anyone like Trump, who was a pretty formidable contestant, obviously on the stage during those Republican debates. So they both have challenges. I mean, the obvious one for him, I think, is to reassure people that he's not a lunatic, that he can be presidential. I thought that Mexico visit, you and I discussed this, you know, really helped him, because for doubters about Trump, and I'm certainly in that camp, I'm probably beyond being a doubter, but my friends who are doubters about Trump, you know, they wanted to be reassured he could be president. He's not going to embarrass us when he goes on a foreign trip, insult some foreign leader, cause a huge ruckus. And he did in Mexico. He had a, you know, satisfactory trip like that. I think it would be this, if he could hold his own on the stage for 90 minutes with Hillary Clinton, be adequate in terms of his knowledge of different issues, not say something over the top, look like a strong guy, and a tough guy even, and a sort of not politically correct guy even, but not over the top. That would be my main counsel for him, I think.
Then he wins, right?
Then I think he wins. I mean, her challenge, I don't agree with people who say, oh, she should be likable. I mean, I think we're beyond that with her. People who have made up their mind about her. She needs to be tough, cool, calm, competent, rattle him, get under his skin, say, you show real command of the facts. Yeah, I think she can't be afraid of being sort of steely and tough. And she just needs to take it to him and hope that he gets a little flustered. And he can fly off the handle. He can get distracted. He could end up saying things he'll regret later. She's got to try to make him do that. I think if she goes real soft and tries to be super likable, I'm not sure that's what she needs at this point.
What about the moderator, the role of Lester Holt? I mean, we have heard an onslaught from the left that it's up to Lester Holt to fact-check the candidates, to fact-check Donald Trump. And I mean, that's really not the role. Do you think they'll be fact-checking? Do you think NBC would go to, some of the networks would go so far as to put on their crawl that Trump is wrong if they believe he's wrong? How far do you think this will go?
No, I'd be surprised if they did that. I think it would backfire if they did. Whether Holt himself, is more aggressive than a typical moderator. Of course, after Candy Crowley, who's to say what's more aggressive, right? I mean, so in 2012. So I think actually if Trump gets in a fight with the media, Trump wins. I think Clinton is actually a more formidable opponent to the media. If it looks like people are beating up on Trump and it's 2-on-1 out there, I think he just says that at some point, and then it's a huge. I would think that would end up benefiting him. But I think the Clinton people and the liberals are trying to sort of play the refs here, game the refs, and they could intimidate the media into doing more than being, tossing up the ball, being the referee and letting them fight it out. But I think if they try to go much beyond that, it could backfire.
I'm not trying to play gotcha here because you tweeted this stuff out, so I just want to let folks know what you tweeted. The real debate message, a pair of phonies. You think that's what they both are?
Yeah, to some degree. Trump pretends to be Mr. Outsider, and he was thrilled to have the Clintons at his wedding, and she pretends to be whatever she pretends to be, and appalled by Trump, and she was thrilled to go to his wedding. So, yeah, I think there's a certain amount of stage acting and play acting that's going on here. I'm not a big fan of either one. But on the other hand, even I've got to say, as someone who's been very unhappy with this presidential race, as a sort of just as a drama, as kind of part of the narrative, as they say these days, you got to be pretty interested in this debate. I mean, just because, when you have a normal debate between a senator and a governor or a vice president and a well-established challenger, you kind of know what's going to happen. You've seen these guys a million times. No one has seen Hillary Clinton debate someone like Donald Trump. No one has seen Donald Trump in a one-on-one general election presidential debate. So it is just as a kind of, spectator sport kind of thing. It's going to be an interesting evening. I suppose that's why it's going to get, everyone seems to assume it's going to get very high ratings.
Yeah. All right. So you also talked about, you responded to a Rick Tyler in one of your tweets about Ted Cruz.
Yeah.
And you say, with all due respect to Tyler, Ted hadn't done enough to be, quote unquote, our leader. And I'd argue that conservatives now leaderless is a good thing. So explain that. So you don't think that the Conservative Party at this point has a leader, and why is that good? If I'm interpreting your tweet correctly.
Yeah, I was probably a little bit too trouble tweets. You can't really explain everything.
Right.
No,
That's why I want to ask you about it. Yeah.
I mean, I kind of like Ted Cruz fine, but I don't think he was the leader of conservatism the way Reagan was, obviously, or Gingrich for several years. He had just gotten to the Senate. He ran for president. He did reasonably well, but so I don't think his going for Trump, if you don't like that, really means as much for the conservative movement as people think. I don't think it helps Trump as much. I don't think it hurts the conservative movement much. Doesn't mean all conservatives are for Trump or vice versa. I think actually it's healthy to have a little. I mean, look, I'm anti-Trump. I think you and some of your listeners are probably friendlier to him. But either way, let's argue these things out. Whether he wins or loses, it'll of course be a different argument if he wins or loses. I don't really want to have one leader telling me that this is what conservatism is. I think some healthy. Probably there's been too much of that in the last bunch of years. Some healthy debate will be useful. Trump proved that a lot of what we thought people agreed to upon, they didn't really as much as we thought in the last several months. So that's fair enough. I still don't think Trump should be president, but I think you can't. It would be stupid to just go back and say, okay, who's the leader now? Well, Paul Ryan's the leader, so whatever he says, we're just going to follow him.
Right.
So that's all I meant. We should have a healthy debate.
One more for you. We got Nate Silver saying today, if the election were held today, 55% chance Trump wins. CNN poll, Colorado, Pennsylvania, deadlocked. We also have the Bloomberg poll, Trump up by 2. I mean, the Washington Post poll over the weekend, dead heat. I mean, what's your explanation as to how all this happened?
Well, I said this is one of the few things I got right this year. 4 weeks ago, Clinton was up 6, 7, or 8 in most of the polls, and there's a front-page Washington Post article, Clinton team very confident, planning legislative agenda, and I figured, well, that's a contrarian indicator. She'd had an excellent couple of weeks after the convention, or really Trump had a very bad couple of weeks with the Khan family, et cetera. But she didn't put him away. She then had some rough times. He got himself organized and disciplined. My main explanation for it, it's a change election. And when people want change, they're more willing to excuse some of the flaws of the change candidate than the status quo candidate. And he has ridden that wave. If he can just say over and over in the debate tonight in this sane and stable way with a little bit of backup evidence, hey, look, if you think things are fine in this country the way they are, vote for Hillary Clinton. If you think we need change, if we need to shake things up, vote for me. If he can get that message across tonight, It's the most powerful message you can have when the country is in the mood for change.
Bill, I know you're very busy. Thank you, as always, for making time for us, sir. Speak to you soon.
Thanks, Steve.
And up next, Noel Nickpour and Matt Kibbe join us for a preview of tonight's debate. Keep it here.